The night monitor showed their dog standing over the crib at 2:17 in the morning. They thought he had finally turned. He was the only reason their daughter was still breathing. Marcus and Dana Okafor had been parents for 11 weeks. 11 weeks of learning the specific grammar of fear that comes with a newborn. The pause between sounds. The quality of silence. The way your brain converts every ordinary thing into a potential catastrophe before you are fully awake. Their Labrador mix, Boone, was 3 years old and had never in his life shown a moment of behavior that worried them. He was the kind of dog you described to other people by saying he was almost too calm, almost boring, almost unremarkable. That changed on a Thursday in February. Boone had been moving differently since dinner time. Not agitated, not obviously distressed. Just present in a way he wasn't usually present, following Dina between rooms without being called, positioning himself outside the nursery door. Lying down with his muzzle against the gap at the bottom, as if listening for something. Marcus noticed it at 9 o'clock. He said it the way you say things you don't fully believe. He's acting weird. Dina said maybe he sensed a storm coming. She had read that once. Dogs and barometric pressure. She filed it under probably nothing and went to bed. At 2:17, her phone lit up from the baby monitor app. She had set the motion alert for exactly this. Anything moving in the nursery after they put Isla down. The image on her screen showed Boone's dark shape standing at the crib rail, front paws lifted, his face lowered over the side, over her sleeping daughter, over a child who could not move, could not call out, could not defend herself against 68 pounds of dog. Marcus was up before she said his name. They both ran. The hallway felt longer than it had ever felt. Every worst-case scenario arrived before they reached the door. Things read in articles, things heard from other parents, things the rational mind dismisses in daylight, and the panicked mind retrieves at 2:17 in the morning. Marcus grabbed Boone's collar and pulled him backward before he was fully through the door. The dog did not resist. He turned immediately and pressed against the doorframe, nose pointed back toward the crib, the way a pointer locks onto something it cannot stop seeing. Isla was still, too still, the right-wrong kind of still. Dina picked her up and felt it in the first second of contact. The weight was correct, the warmth was correct, but the response was not. Isla's head fell back in a way that had no muscle behind it. Her lips were parted. Her color, under the orange glow of the nightlight, was wrong in a way Dana's body understood before her brain did. She was already calling 911 when Marcus turned on the light. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. The paramedics arrived in 9 minutes. The first responder, a man named Dale Ferris, with 11 years in emergency services, assessed Isla in under 90 seconds and said something into his radio that made his partner move from the doorway to the crib without being asked. They were loading equipment before Dina finished giving Isla's birth date. In the ambulance, Dale asked Marcus one question. Any gas appliances in the house? Marcus said yes. A furnace, just serviced in October, 3 months ago. The fire department found a cracked heat exchanger in the furnace, 37 minutes after the paramedics' radio call. Carbon monoxide had been seeping into the house since approximately 8 p.m. The bedrooms were at the far end of the house. The levels in the nursery were not yet at a concentration that would trigger the detector in the hallway. The detector was calibrated for adult bodies, not for a newborn whose respiratory threshold is dramatically lower. Isla had been breathing elevated CO for 6 hours, while every alarm in the house remained silent. Boone had no alarm. He had a nose that registers chemical changes in parts per trillion, He had been sitting at the nursery door since dinner time, because something in the air of that room was wrong, in a way he could not stop responding to. Has your dog ever done something you couldn't explain until it was the only explanation? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. Dr. Fatima Nwasu, pediatric emergency at Mercy General, sat across from them the following afternoon. Isla was in a crib 6 feet away, stable, oxygen levels normal, the color back in her face. Dr. Nwasu was measured and specific in the way that people are when they have learned that families absorb information better when it is delivered without drama. Dogs detect carbon monoxide at concentrations far below human detection threshold, she said. We don't fully understand the mechanism yet. What we know is that they respond to it behaviorally, often by fixating on the location of the source or the person most at risk. She paused. Your detector did not go off because the levels weren't high enough for an adult. Your daughter was absorbing it at a rate her body couldn't process. She looked at Dina directly. If you had pulled the dog away and gone back to sleep, we would not be having this conversation. Every guardian deserves to be seen, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Marcus brought Boone home. 2 days later, he walked into the nursery, put his front paws on the crib rail, and looked at Isla for a long time. She looked back with the focused, unfocused attention of a newborn who cannot yet explain what she understands. Boone exhaled once, climbed down, and lay on the rug beside the crib. He was still there when they turned the lights off. The next story involves a dog who kept returning to the same corner of a baby's room for 9 days before anyone thought to check what was inside the wall.